Welcome back to Lincoln Currency. If you're a coin collector, a history buff, or just someone curious about rare finds that can turn into life-changing treasures, you'll want to listen closely to this story. Because today, we're diving into the incredible world of Lincoln pennies, and not just any penny. We're going to focus on a specific coin that has turned heads, sparked controversy, and even made headlines for its astonishing valuation in the coin collecting market. Yes, I'm talking about the 1994 Lincoln penny, a coin that, under certain conditions and with the right eye for detail, has been valued by some collectors at up to $90 million. That's right, $90 million. For a single penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a penny, just a 1-cent coin, something we usually toss in a change jar without a second thought, possibly be worth more than the average mansion, yacht, or even a private jet? Well, the answer is both fascinating and a little mysterious. But it starts, as most good stories do, with history. Let's rewind for a moment. The Lincoln cent has been minted since 1909. It was first introduced to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. That was a big deal. Before Lincoln graced the penny, U.S. coins were usually adorned with symbolic images like Lady Liberty or eagles. The decision to put a historical figure on our currency was somewhat controversial at the time, but Lincoln's legacy made him an ideal candidate. Since then, the Lincoln penny has gone through many changes, different compositions, subtle design tweaks, and of course, various mint marks. Fast forward to 1994. This was a pretty unremarkable year for most coins. The U.S. Mint produced millions of Lincoln cents at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, and the 1994 Lincoln cent was part of the regular circulation coinage. Millions were produced, over 7 billion Lincoln cents were minted that year in total. So how could one of them be worth millions? That's where things get interesting. Among those billions of pennies, there are a few with incredibly rare errors or anomalies. In the world of coin collecting, these are called mint errors. These can include things like doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, wrong metal compositions, and repunched mint marks. But the most valuable variations are the ones that are the hardest to find. Sometimes only 1 or 2 examples exist in the world. In the case of the 1994 penny, rumors and collector reports have pointed to the existence of a possible meal error. This is when 2 mismatched dies are accidentally used to strike a coin. For example, one of the most famous and well-documented meal errors in U.S. history is a Sacagawea dollar that was struck with a Washington quarter obverse. Now, imagine if a Lincoln cent had somehow been struck with the reverse of a different denomination, or even on the wrong metal planchet, say, a silver dime or a foreign coin blank. That kind of mistake is incredibly rare, but when it happens, the result can be a one-of-a-kind piece. And for collectors, rarity equals value. There have also been whispers of a 1994 Lincoln cent that was struck on a planchet intended for a different coin entirely. For example, if a 1994 penny were struck on a copper planchet from earlier years, say, pre-1982 solid copper blanks, that could already make it more valuable. But if it were struck on something like a dime planchet, or a planchet made of a foreign alloy, then we're talking major value. Even more so if it were in pristine condition, what collectors call mint state, or MS condition, especially MS 67 or higher. Grading is done by companies like PCGS or NGC, and the top-graded coins command the highest prices. Now let's talk about that rumored $90 million valuation. Is it real? Could it possibly be true? In most cases, even extremely rare pennies don't come close to that kind of price tag. The most expensive Lincoln cent ever sold at auction was the 1943 bronze cent, which went for over $1.7 million. That coin was struck when the mint mistakenly used a bronze planchet during a year when all pennies were supposed to be made from zinc-coated steel due to wartime metal shortages. That's a legitimate 7-figure coin. So how do we get from $1.7 million to $90 million? Well, part of that stems from the mystery surrounding an alleged one-of-a-kind 1994 D penny with multiple anomalies. Some sources claim it was struck on the wrong planchet, has a double die obverse, and contains a rare transitional error all at once. Supposedly, it's in near-perfect condition and has been verified by a third-party grader. But the coin has never been publicly sold or displayed. It exists, perhaps, in a private collection, with its owner turning down multiple multi-million-dollar offers, leading to wild speculation about its ultimate value. Some collectors believe this coin could break every auction record known to numismatics if it were ever offered for sale. The $90 million figure may sound outrageous, but in a world where a piece of art or an NFT can go for hundreds of millions, and a Honus Wagner baseball card can sell for over $6 million, maybe it's not so far-fetched. For the right buyer, someone who values historical oddities, rarity, and investment potential, a coin like this could be a crown jewel. After all, it's the kind of item you buy not just for its face value or metal content, but for its story. So what does this mean for you? Should you go digging through your change jar or visit your local bank and ask for rolls of pennies? Maybe. While the odds of finding the legendary $90 million 1994 D penny are extremely low, probably 1 in several billion, it's not impossible. People have found rare coins in pocket change before. The 1983 double die reverse penny, the 1992 close AM penny, and the 1972 double die are all examples of valuable coins discovered by everyday people. And yes, sometimes they really are worth thousands. So what should you look for in a 1994 D penny? First, examine the mint mark under magnification. Are there signs of a repunched mint mark, or doubling? Is the strike unusually sharp, or does it appear off-center? Next, check the weight. A standard 1994 D penny should weigh 2.5 grams, as they were made from a copper-plated zinc core. If your coin weighs more, say 3.1 grams, it could mean it was struck on an older copper planchet, or something else entirely. That alone could raise its value. Then, examine both sides of the coin carefully. Look for doubling in the letters of Liberty, the motto, In God We Trust, or the date itself. Doubling, especially on the obverse, can significantly boost value. Also inspect the reverse side for signs of misalignment, or any design inconsistencies. The tiniest detail can make a big difference. If you think you've found something unusual, the next step is to have the coin authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. They'll examine the coin under specialized equipment and provide a certificate of authenticity and a numerical grade that defines its condition. This is essential if you want to sell your coin or even just prove its rarity. And let's say you do find something that turns out to be valuable. What then? You could try to sell it privately, through a dealer, or at public auction. Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers are two of the top numismatic auction houses, and they frequently handle rare coin sales that bring in millions of dollars. Your coin could even end up in a museum, or become a featured story in a collector's journal. But even if you don't find the elusive $90 million penny, coin collecting can still be an incredibly rewarding hobby. It teaches you history, economics, art, and attention to detail. And who knows, maybe one day you'll come across a coin with a flaw that no one else noticed, and suddenly your humble penny is worth more than your car, your house, or your entire portfolio. In the end, coins are more than metal. They're stories. They're artifacts. They're pieces of history that you can hold in your hand. And sometimes, just sometimes, they're worth a fortune. So keep your eyes open, check your change, and remember, there's always a chance, however small, that the next coin you find could be worth millions. Or even 90 million. Keep collecting, keep learning, and who knows, the next legendary coin might be hiding right under your nose. Back to the channel where we dive deep into rare coins, numismatic history, and everything related to the fascinating world of U.S. coin collecting. Today, we're exploring one of the most talked about, often misunderstood, and surprisingly controversial coins in the Lincoln Penny series, the 2000 D Lincoln Memorial Cent. You might have seen sensational headlines or viral posts claiming that this particular penny is worth as much as $90 million. Now, is that really true? Can a single modern coin like the 2000D be worth that much? Let's get into the real story, the real value, and the deeper historical context of this coin. To start, the 2000D Lincoln penny is a coin minted in Denver in the year 2000. It features the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which was in use from 1959 through 2008. On the obverse side, it carries the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, originally sculpted by Victor David Brenner and introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This coin, part of the longest-running coin series in U.S. history, has always held an important place in American coinage. But in the year 2000, nothing in the basic production of these coins indicated anything extraordinary, at least not at first glance. Now, let's talk numbers. In the year 2000, the Denver Mint produced over 8.8 billion Lincoln Memorial cents. That's right, billions with a B. This means that, in terms of mintage numbers alone, the 2000D penny is far from rare. It's one of the most common pennies you'll find in circulation from the modern era. So how does a coin like this come to be rumored to be worth tens of millions of dollars? Here's where things get interesting. While the regular strike 2000D pennies are extremely common and only worth face value in circulated condition, there have been certain variations, mint errors, and high-grade specimens that make this coin significantly more valuable to collectors. Let's talk about some of the mint errors first. Over the years, numismatists have discovered 2000D pennies with unusual and highly collectible errors. These include off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, and die clashes. In particular, some 2000D pennies have been found with strong doubling on the obverse, most notably in areas like the Liberty, inscription, or the date. These double die errors are rare and can fetch a considerable premium depending on the severity of the doubling and the condition of the coin. Another interesting error that sometimes occurs with this coin involves planchet issues, where a penny may be struck on the wrong metal or on a misaligned planchet. One specific type of error, though not widely confirmed in large numbers, involves the possibility of transitional planchet errors, pennies struck on planchets intended for foreign coins, or in some cases, blank planchets from earlier minting years. These types of anomalies are exceptionally rare but do occasionally escape into circulation. Now let's move on to condition and grading. In coin collecting, grade is everything. A 2000D penny found in your change might be worth 1 cent, but that exact same coin, if it's in pristine condition and graded MS68 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Why? Because mint state coins of that grade, especially from modern, high mintage years, are incredibly rare due to the nature of mass production. When a coin is graded MS68 or MS69, it's considered near perfect. Flawless surfaces, sharp strikes, original luster, these are the characteristics collectors pay big premiums for. In fact, one of the highest auction prices ever realized for a 2000D penny in top condition was several $1,000s, sold in a high-profile online auction. These coins don't come up often because very few survive in that elite state of preservation. Most coins go straight into circulation, and even a few microscopic scratches or blemishes can drastically reduce a coin's grade and value. So where does the $90 million figure come from? Well, unfortunately, that number is not based on any verified auction, appraisal, or sale. It's more of an internet myth, likely fueled by clickbait articles, viral videos, and exaggerated social media claims. While it's true that rare coins, like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar, have fetched prices north of $10 million at auction, there is no known 2000D penny that has ever sold for $90 million, or even a fraction of that. That doesn't mean 2000D pennies can't be valuable. They absolutely can. But those extreme numbers are unrealistic and should be taken with a healthy dose of skepticism. What does exist, however, is a growing interest in modern coinage among collectors. With new grading technologies, third-party authentication, and internet marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections, even common coins from recent decades can gain serious value if they're high grade, rare era varieties, or have something else that sets them apart. So if you think you have a 2000D penny that might be worth something, the best thing you can do is take a close look, preferably under magnification, and compare it to known varieties listed in coin databases like the Cherry Picker's Guide or the PCGS Coinfax website. Let's say you find one that appears to be in error or in amazing condition. What next? You'd want to send it to a grading service for authentication. This typically costs money, somewhere between $30 and $100 depending on the service and level of detail. If your coin comes back as a top pop, high MS grade, or a confirmed error variety, that's when things can get exciting. It could sell for hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars, especially if there's strong demand in the market. Speaking of demand, the US coin market is cyclical. Values rise and fall based on popularity, economic conditions, and collector interest. Right now, there's a lot of attention on Lincoln cents, not just the early wheat pennies, but even modern memorial and shield cents, because collectors are starting to complete entire series, and they want high-grade examples from every year. This demand pushes prices higher for rare, certified coins in exceptional condition. As for the average 2000D penny you find in your pocket change, it's most likely worth just a cent. But don't be discouraged. The fun of coin collecting isn't just about finding a jackpot, it's about the hunt, the learning, the research, and the surprise discoveries. Every collector has a story about a lucky find, a doubled die cent, a rare mint mark, or an overlooked treasure picked up at a yard sale or coin show for next to nothing. That could happen to you. So to wrap this up, is the 2000D penny worth $90 million? Almost certainly not. There is no historical precedent, no auction record, and no expert opinion that supports that valuation. But can it still be valuable? Absolutely, under the right conditions. If it's a known era variety, in pristine mint state, or the finest known example, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The key is education, knowing what to look for, understanding how coins are graded and valued, and staying informed through trusted resources and professional grading services. If you have a 2000D penny, it's worth giving it a second look. Use a magnifying glass, compare it to online images of known errors, and consider sending it to a professional if it looks promising. And most importantly, keep learning, keep hunting, and enjoy the journey, because sometimes the most valuable thing you find isn't just a coin, but the knowledge and passion that come with collecting it. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. If you enjoyed this video and want more content on rare coins, market values, and numismatic mysteries, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear if you found any interesting pennies or had any unexpected